Peace. Welcome back to original content. It's me, your commentator, CracBaby. Today, I want to, first and foremost, I want to give a proper send-off to a guy that influenced me to get my life together while I was incarcerated. A brother by the name of Papa T. Papa T is one of the persons, really the main person that I was speaking on in on the video Prison Prostitution. Okay? Papa T gave me a lot of game about life. Papa T explained to me that people don't change. People learn new behaviors. The same way our behaviors of the past got us in prison, we can learn new behaviors that'll keep us out. That made sense to me. I've always been a person that if I hear something that makes sense, I hold on to it. So, in memory of Papa T, I'm going to give you a more in-depth view and on the topic prison prostitution. And I get so many comments, and I know people being sarcastic, but they ask, where were you? What were you doing? So I give you a story that I was actually involved in. Okay, I met Papa T when I was 17. I was in prison, and he gave me a lot of game about life. But Papa T was already locked up, I think maybe 20 years or so. I think he was down for murder. I think maybe a multiple murder, but I'm not sure. But he was a hustler on the street. And he was still getting money in prison. You know, and one of the ways that he was getting money was in prostitution. He had a system. He had correctional officers in his pocket. He had it set up where you would send him $700 or more for 15 minutes with a female that he would have brought up, you know, and it was a process. You had to put the girl on your visiting list. It was a process. You had to first send the money off. His people at the other end had to get confirmation that they received the money. Then he'd give you a table, 1, 2, 3, or 4, and he'd give you a date. And it was always on a Saturday. Why Saturday? I don't know. Okay? And the way this thing was finessed, the way he done it was genius to me. Like I said, he would, once he got the money, he'll tell you what table. He used 4 tables. 4 tables that were in the back of the visiting room, within steps of the inmate or the convict bathroom. The other 2 restrooms, one for men and one for women, were for the visitors, and that was on the other side of the visiting room. On Saturday, 3 or more correctional officers worked the visiting room. All of them knew what was up. What they would do when visitors came in and had small children, they would sit them at the front of the visiting room, close to the man and woman visitors' restroom. People who didn't have children, they would sit them sort of in the middle. And those 4 tables were 15-minute tables. You understood because he explained it to you. You got exactly 15 minutes. Really, you got roughly about 12 minutes. Because you have to be at your table within 15 minutes. Right? The whole thing was set up to last an hour. The hour would maybe 11, maybe 12. And I think this probably has something to do with shifts. What inmate was working what shift, and I'm sure the time had something to do with that. But the guy had all this to a science, right? Now, once you sit down at your table, at a certain hour, you got roughly a minute to get in the bathroom because you don't have a minute to get out. Now, that's 4 15s in an hour, right? You got 4 tables. He done 4 a week. Every week. The guy made money. Probably more money in prison than he made on the street. And trust me, people were paying $600 and $700 for them 15 minutes. Right? So every hour, at that hour, when that hour starts, say it's 11 o'clock. At 11:15, you automatically get up and go in the restroom. He told me the reason he done the time that way is because there's a guard in the booth, and there's about 4 cameras in the visiting room. One camera face those last tables, or you can see those last 4 tables close to the inmate bathroom on one camera. But every 15 minutes on the hour, the guard that's in that booth would zoom that camera in on, say, the table next to one of the tables, across from, and maybe zoom in on that person's visit, or the convict that's sitting at that table for 2 to 3 minutes. Right? This allows the person at that table to up and leave. That person, along with the female, go into the inmate restroom. And would come out, would time themselves to come out. They're coming out as the next 2 go in. The man and the woman go in. The other 2 is coming out. Man, this thing was brilliant. And I don't know if the warden was in on it, but I'm quite sure he knew. And, Pop T, he pays the correctional officers. Everybody ate. The convict was happy. And that's prison prostitution 101. So, I told you in another video, men sleep with women in prison. I know men who made babies while in prison. This is not impossible. It happens. All it takes is a convict not afraid to make some money and not afraid to pick the correctional officers. And if a man been locked up 10, 15 years, he knows something about people. He knows something about what person is likely to go for this hustle, right? And he puts it in motion. No one has a reason to tell. I mean, even the guy who can't come up with the money don't have a motive. Well, he may have a motive, but the penalty for breaking up something like that is probably the loss of life. Because the same way you can pay guards to turn their eye, to turn their head long enough for you to sneak off and get a little bit, you can pay a guard to turn the other head while you put a blade in somebody. The mind is so powerful. And Papa T was one of the smartest people I've ever met, incarcerated or out here. And I'm sure his family will miss him. And, I didn't keep in contact with brother, but may he rest in peace. I'm sure he wouldn't mind me telling his story, giving him his props on using his brain. But listen, continue to support, subscribe, like, dislike, comment, Cash App if you want to donate. If you don't, keep your money to yourself. I'm not begging you for anything. The Cash App information is I just put it in the description of this video. And I see you guys next time. Peace and hair grease. Peace. Rest in peace, Pop T.